This was the first capital of the United States, so you've got to visit Independence Park and listen to the park rangers.
Okay, now folks, this building that you're in right now is an original building. It's Congress Hall, built around 1790. Now, this was built as a county courthouse for Philadelphia, but when it was a brand new building, they found out Philadelphia was going to be the temporary capital of the United States from 1790 to 1800. So they lent out this building to the United States Congress. And we have two floors here. And the area that we're in right now, here on the first floor, is the House of Representatives. Up on the second floor of the building is where the U.S. Senate met. This is where the Bill of Rights was added to the U.S. Constitution. But one of the biggest events that took place here was the inauguration of John Adams as our second president. That was quite an event for back then, because up to that time, nowhere in the world had anybody willingly given up control of a country. A lot of people didn't think it was possible. They thought there'd be riots in the streets. A lot of people thought George Washington wasn't going to give up the presidency. But none of this happened. It was a very peaceful ceremony.
This is the Senate, and now you immediately notice a difference in this room from what you were seeing downstairs. This room is much more elaborate than the House chamber. The main reason for that is that the senators initially were appointed by the state legislatures. They were not directly elected by the people like they are today. That is a relatively recent idea. It was not until 1913 that we began direct election of senators. So as a result of that, senators tended to travel the right circles. You had to know the right people, tended to be from the upper classes, in order to get yourself appointed to the Senate. And so the room definitely reflects this different attitude about them. And in this particular room, we do have a number of original furnishings, more so than what you saw down in the House chamber. Most of these chairs that you see are original, as is the secretary's desk, which is up front. As you look through these two side doors, you'll see these huge portraits hanging on the walls. They are Louis XVI over here, and Marie Antoinette is over on this side. And the reason that we have the King and Queen of France, their portraits hanging here, is because it's to celebrate the alliance during the Revolutionary War. And we never would have won the revolution without France's help. So that's out of appreciation for that. That's why they hang here today.
Nearby is the Second National Bank of the United States, constructed in a Greek Revival style. And just beyond that is Carpenter's Hall, which is a very historic structure because in here the First Continental Congress met. This was the headquarters of the Carpenters Union. The Carpenters Guild was a very important organization in early Philadelphia. It was the fastest growing town in the world, and this was the headquarters of the people who literally built it, the carpenters. It was also a political meeting place. In 1774, the First Continental Congress met there. They weren't meeting to declare independence at that point. They were actually trying to improve relations with England. Didn't work out, though. And then on to one of the most famous and cherished icons of our nation.
Now, while you were standing outside, you probably started to think, well, why a bell? What's so important about a bell? Well, from day one, when this bell was crafted, it was crafted to be something a little bit out of the ordinary. This bell was never a time bell. This bell, you couldn't say, oh, it rang, it's 2 o'clock. Nope. When this bell rang, something had happened, or people had to do something in response to its being rung. This bell would ring 6, 7 hours at a time. It would ring long, loud, and often. It would ring so long, so loud, and so often for 85 to 90 years. That's a shorthand version of how that gash thing up the side happened. Everyone catch that? You might have been coming here to hear a dramatic, exciting story of how the Liberty Bell cracked. Well, truth be told, folks, there is none. This bell just simply wore out. 85 to 90 years of hard use, and a small hairline fracture had developed up the side. That crack must have ended up being the least important thing about the bell. We get 1.5 million people come through those doors every year, just like you folks did, to see what? Not a 245-year-old piece of metal, but to see the Liberty Bell. Or you can't see Liberty, but maybe by looking at this bell, it will get you to thinking about what it means to each and every one of you.
This is the signing of the United States Constitution. It's the very body of laws under which we are still living. From May to September 1787, the United States Constitution was hammered out. And I do mean hammered out. This was not a friendly discussion. This was a heated debate over 4 months. The Second Continental Congress gathered right here. This was an angry bunch. 7 June 1776, the gentleman sitting here from the Virginia colony rose. Richard Henry Lee turned to his fellow delegates. He said, "Be it resolved, these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states." Bedford of Delaware sums it up. He says, "You of the large states said that you never will hurt or injure the lesser states. I do not, gentlemen, trust you." To us, the answer is clear. You have a Senate, it's equal. It doesn't matter how large or small is the state, you still have 2 senators. But in the House, the more people in your state, the more members you shall have. It sounds clear, simple, obvious to us. In this room, it was viciously debated for 2 months. The principles you see here, put forth in this document brought to this room, are very much alive today. If you don't think so, read a newspaper. Look at what's happened just in the last 10 years. The former Soviet Union, a great portion of Eastern Europe, South Africa, China. What's going on, folks, is this. It's the same thing. People's wants don't change. They're put forth most eloquently in this document. I assure you this is not a dead letter. It asserts one thing: the right of self-government. And ladies and gentlemen, these men and these women have done well, because you, me, we, the people, have benefited greatly by the work done right here. These men had the foresight to provide these documents the ability to change and adapt and be flexible and fluid. And were that not the case, this nation could not have persevered. I need to thank all of you for your gracious attention. I sincerely hope to see as much of Philadelphia as you can. Should any of you have any questions, please do ask me. I'm at the south door as we leave. Have a great day in Philadelphia. Want to go on ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN?
Right.
Great.
Actually, public access in Hawaii.
Oh, no kidding.
Maybe I should send you guys a tape.
Great. I'd very much appreciate it. That'd be fun.
Okay.
Look at this bell, and what caught the attention of one group, members of the Friends of Freedom.
We'll go in that door. It leads to the assembly room here, and you will not find a memorial to John Adams of Massachusetts. You find one to Thomas Jefferson. He's far less important in this room.
Under the Constitution, we have equal representation in the Senate, 2 members from each state.
September 17th, 1787.
These 13 separate countries. And that's the problem.
Case George Washington would mount up, take command of the army.
We're just giving you a taste of things to come in future World Traveler episodes. It's a historical appetizer. We'll be presenting much more details of these interesting history talks later in our series at Independence Hall and Independence National Park in Philadelphia.